The thing that triggers mental health the most, believe it or not.
Welcome back to another episode, everybody. We're right here on El Poder Latino in Vivo, and I'm your host, DJ Johnny Mambo. And today we're shifting gears to talk about something that touches everyone, no matter your background: mental health. We spend so much time talking about success, work, money, but true success starts from within. If your mind and heart are not healthy, everything else is just going to feel heavier. Today I'm joined by some amazing guest. Well, a amazing guest, and she's here to break the silence, bust the myths, and share some real talk about mental health, healing, and community. Good afternoon. Can you introduce yourself and share what inspired you to focus on mental health?
Hi, my name is Madelyn Velasquez, and that is your first best question. What inspired me? I think when you look around and you see adults that have this amazing potential, but there's something missing underneath. I think that's what drives me. People come into my office and there's just something a little bit missing underneath. And it makes me want to dig, and it makes me want to ask questions, and it makes me want to help them become who they are. And in that journey comes a lot of other stuff that we work on.
Sure. When people hear mental health, it can mean different things, but how would you define it?
Mental health is a spectrum, right? You can have a 16-year-old that just broke up with his girlfriend and is struggling with some identity pieces and is struggling with how he moves forward and how he sees himself. On that same token, you can have someone who is in their 30s or 40s and is struggling with the idea of who they are and where their life trajectory is going. You can have someone in their 60s that has schizophrenia with real moments of lucidity and other moments where life just doesn't click for them. So it depends. Pick a part of the spectrum is the answer, right?
I got you. Does the Hispanic community continue to struggle with mental health?
Yeah, absolutely. Mental health has always been considered taboo in our culture. It's something that we don't like to acknowledge. It's something that we don't like to talk about. Not only is it taboo, there's this stigma associated with it.
Yeah.
So we don't seek the services, and we don't reward those in our family, in our friend groups, our youth who are seeking the services and are getting the help that they need and that they deserve. You know, our community, our culture, we value familismo, right? And it's an amazing trait. It's an amazing quality in our culture. It's beautiful. The strength of family, the loyalty a la familia, ¿verdad? Unfortunately, this also has another side of that token. We don't divulge private information outside of the family, and that can be a real barrier, right? We grow up in homes that say, la ropa sucia se lava en la casa. In the U.S., 36% of Hispanic adults with mental health receive services.
Wow.
That number is pretty low,
Are they?
right?
Okay.
2 years ago, suicide was the second leading cause of death amongst Hispanics between the ages of 25 and 34 years old. That's a lot of Hispanic college students, right? That's a lot of parents of young children in our community that we lost 2 years ago.
Sure, absolutely. In the community, is the community silence the only barrier?
No, not at all. Language is a real barrier, right? For those seeking services, not only are there not enough Spanish-speaking providers, but imagine how frustrating it is to have to do your services through a translation service, right? it almost doubles the amount of time that your session is going to take. So if you come in with me to do an hour session, we're probably only going to get 50 minutes.
Wow.
And of that, you're probably only going to be able to tell me about 25 minutes of what you originally wanted to tell me.
Wow.
Right? Only 7% of psychologists in the U.S. are Hispanic. Mm-hmm. Only 4% of therapists in the U.S. are Hispanic. We are underinsured as a Hispanic population. We are afraid of immigration, right? That's a big piece nowadays. Mm-hmm. We have transportation concerns. Silence, I think, for me is the first barrier. It's the first concern, but it's certainly not the only one.
Yeah. Is this problem getting any better?
It is.
Is it?
It is.
Tell me about it.
10 million Hispanics reported mental health conditions in 2023. Mm-hmm. That means that all of those people could have filled the new Buffalo Bills stadium 141 times over. Mm-hmm. That's the amount of Hispanics that presented to medical facilities for mental health help. Wow. That is a beautiful number. So are we changing? Yes. A little bit at a time.
What are some things that we can do to help that change and
talk.
make it move along faster?
Talk.
Yeah,
and talk some
absolutely.
more, right? Talk to your family, talk to your neighbor, talk to your doctor. Go to the website, Psychology Today, look for a Spanish-speaking therapist, a Spanish speaking counselor. Mm-hmm. By the way, they don't have to be in Rochester, right? If you go to Psychology Today and you put in just the state of New York, you're going to get every single therapist in New York that's Spanish speaking and has your insurance coverage, right? So you could be sitting in Rochester and do your therapy session with someone from the Bronx.
Wow.
Right? Use Spanish crisis services. That's really important. Mm-hmm. If you're having some suicidal thoughts, call 988, or you can text the word ayuda to 988 for a Spanish-speaking counselor.
Yeah.
And if you don't know if you're at risk, if you think you have depression or anxiety and you want to know before talking to someone, you can go to national.org for a self-screen, and you can do screening for depression, you can do screening for anxiety, and various other disorders.
Awesome. You know, a lot of us were raised to be strong, right? Tough it out. Mm-hmm. How can we begin to unlearn that and normalize talking about how we feel?
Yeah, you know, the military in bringing back our soldiers has this logo, I don't know, maybe 10, 15, 20 years, is that the strong ones are the ones that are showing up to services. Wow. And I think that's the mindset that we need to go with, right? When someone comes into my office, there isn't a scarier moment than the moment that I open that door and I say, hi, I'm a complete stranger. Go ahead and tell me everything about yourself and let me pick at your brain and ask you the most uncomfortable questions you have ever been asked, right? For me, that's courage.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Now, have you experienced a moment where someone realized that, hey, it's okay to ask for help, and did that change everything for them?
I think it begins to, right? I think change is a process. Change is something that comes with the time. And when they sit in front of you and that moment, they have that aha moment, it is a nice moment. It's a nice moment for me because I'm like, yes, another one, right? But the beauty of it is that person in that moment knows that they're doing something for themselves and that they did it right. Yeah. That everything it took for them, the gas, the money, the talking to people, or the lying to people about where they were going, that all of that worked to get them to the next session, which is probably going to be worse.
Awesome. What are some signs someone might be struggling, even if they seem fine?
Yeah, you know, one of the symptoms of, for example, depression, right, that I feel is the one that clients react to the most, aside from suicide, right? I think there's a lot of awareness around that. But one of the symptoms that I think a lot of clients react to is called anhedonia. And anhedonia is the idea that I don't have interest in the things I used to have interest in before. I love to go to get pizza on Friday nights and walk down the street and take the dog to the dog park.
Yeah.
No tengo la gana. I really don't feel like it anymore, right? I used to love binging Netflix. I don't know. The remote just seems really far away. I used to love hanging out with my grandkids, and I don't go over there anymore. It's hard for me to get out of bed. I don't feel like taking a shower. I don't feel like brushing my teeth. Getting in the car seems like a real chore right now. I think for me, that's one of the easiest signs, because a lot of people come in and say, I'm just not the same. I don't do the same things.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Now, if someone does see those signs, how can friends and family or whoever support someone without making them feel judged?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. And I think your question was a wonderful example of that, right? It's just show empathy. A lot of times we don't want anyone to fix our problems. We just want someone to listen to them, right? Just sit and listen. Just sit and say, I don't know what you're going through, but I'm glad you're talking to me about it, right? And the other piece of that is, I don't know what I'm doing. Why don't we get you some help?
Yeah, nice. Yes, for sure. What are some daily habits or routines that people can do to help maintain a nice balance, especially when life gets stressful?
The most basic and understated thing that helps us the most is just breathing calmly, right? Breathing all the way in through your nose, out through your mouth, very slowly, whether that means you need to leave the kid crying outside and go into the bathroom and take your 2 minutes, whether that means you tell your boss, gonna run to the ladies' room, right? Whether that means that when your partner pisses you off, you're going to say, well, let me go to the car. I got to go to the store for something, come back 5 minutes later. Breathing is one of the most basic but most essential parts of our bodies that calm our brain. And then the other stuff, we already know. It's just really hard to get into habits, especially when you're struggling with anxiety and depression. Eating right and exercising. The thing that triggers mental health the most, believe it or not, is sleep.
Wow. How so?
Well, think about all of the times that you were underslept and you couldn't think of what was 2 plus 2, or se te cayó la peinilla, and now you are extremely irritable. And then you leave the bathroom and you're arguing with everyone in the house, right? Sleep has a way of destroying not only the patience that we have left, but the cognitive ability to think of what we're doing next, to process life in the way that we usually process it. And believe it or not, something as what may seem small as sleep can trigger different diagnoses. Bipolar mania can be triggered by lack of sleep, right? Depression, anxiety increase, irritability increases when you're underslept. So sleep hygiene is a really big piece of what a lot of therapists do in their practice.
Nice. And how can workplaces, schools, and different communities make mental wellness a part of everyday life instead of being something that's taboo?
I think it goes back to that other conversation we were having, right? We need to just start talking about it. We are afraid to ask, are you thinking of hurting yourself? We think that when we ask, are you having thoughts of killing yourself, that we're going to trigger the person. Research shows that's just not true. When I'm feeling depressed and I'm having some thoughts and someone says to me, are you thinking of killing yourself? I may actually say to you, yeah, I am. And that's a door that wouldn't have been opened if you didn't ask. So the biggest opportunity comes from the smallest things, which is saying, are you having thoughts of killing yourself? Right? Are you going to hurt yourself?
Right. What should someone do if they do get the reply of, yeah, I think I am going to kill myself?
Yeah, the first part is don't leave that person.
Yeah.
Right? Sit sit and listen, sit and talk, sit and listen to music, go for a walk, but you want to keep that person next to you so that they feel that they're not alone.
Okay.
And then, of course, reach out to emergency services. And that can be almost anything. Do they have a doctor? Do they have a therapist that they're working with? Do you think that they're going to need more services than that? Do we need to involve 911? Do we need to get mobile services to come and assess that person?
Yeah.
But the reality is, the most basic thing is stand, call someone else, and wait with them patiently.
Okay. If someone's listening right now and they feel lost or anxious, what one small step can they take today towards getting help?
See, that's hard for me to answer because the first answer I want to give is get a therapist, right?
Right.
Find someone that you can begin to work on those symptoms with. But small steps, try really hard to get up from the chair, go for a walk. That's going to make you feel better, right? It's cold outside. The change in temperature is going to make you feel different, right?
Yes.
If you're in a warm room and you go into a cold area, your brain thinks in a very different way from when you were in that warm room, right? Moving around, so crucial. More than anything else, just talk to someone else.
Yeah.
Reach out.
But we're going to get to one of my favorite parts.
Okay.
And it is the myth versus a reality.
Okay.
You ready for that? Mm-hmm. All right. Let's
me.
do it. They say only people with serious problems need therapy. Is that true or a myth?
Do we have a buzzer?
We do not have a buzzer.
I would say that is a myth for $1,000, Alex. Right? I have people that walk into my office and broke up with their husband. Would you consider that mental health? Well, the problem itself, maybe not, right? A lot of us go through that.
Sure.
But then when you start talking about, I can't get out of bed and I don't want to be around my family, right? Then you
Yes.
begin to do the check boxes.
Yes.
You see those symptoms. You can come in for something as small as I am not feeling like I'm a part of my community. I went off to college, right? I feel isolated.
Right.
Is that a mental health symptom?
It could be.
Right?
Sure.
Absolutely. And it depends where it leads. Sometimes it leads into a transitional point where they come in, spend a couple of weeks, figure things out, and they're happily on their way out the door. Other times, not so much, right? Other times we begin to identify that there's been a lot underneath.
Sure. Sure. Next question would be, or statement in this case, talking about mental health makes people weaker. True or myth?
No, absolute myth.
Okay.
Right? I have to wonder who will hear or see our time together today and say something he said, the way he asked that question, the way she answered that question really triggered something,
Yeah.
whether good or bad,
Right.
right? And it becomes that piece of the puzzle that gets them in to talk to someone.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. And talking about mental health with men. They say men don't struggle with mental health as much as women do. True or myth?
Am I allowed to giggle really loud
Yes.
during this podcast?
Yeah, absolutely.
In my work, I do men's issues. It's one of the
Do you?
things that
Okay.
It's one of the things that I enjoy, right? Because a lot of times men will come in the door with that myth in mind.
Right.
And 8 months later, we still have stuff to talk
Wow.
about, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that the emotions are any less. I think they're just more hidden. And I think that's a societal problem. We're beginning to work on that a
Right.
little bit at a time.
Okay.
But the emotions, the raw emotion of what the problem really is, doesn't differ between men and women.
Yeah. People can just snap out of depression or anxiety. True or myth?
highly false.
Talk about it.
Right? It takes time to, my clients get tired of hearing me say, in this office, we do 4 things. We explore, we identify, we apply the change, and then we go back into a feedback loop to make sure the change worked or it didn't work.
Faith, prayer, and spirituality can't go hand in hand and help with therapy.
False.
False.
Myth.
Myth.
I think we said
Yeah.
myth, right?
Right.
Myth.
I think that go a long way.
They do.
Yeah.
When we look at suicide, for example, if I'm assessing a person for suicidality, one of the things that we are trained to do is what are the protective measures of a person, right? If it's an elderly, do they have grandkids, right? How many times haven't we heard someone say, mi vida es de mis nietos, right? I live for my kids. I live for my grandkids, right? I don't have any weapons in the home. That's a protective measure, right?
Right.
One of the strongest protective measures that some, not all, but some of us have is our faith, is our religion.
Yes.
It's our ability to walk into church and know that someone says to me, bendiciones, señora, ¿cómo estás hoy? Right? That's a very powerful piece of our daily or weekly routine.
Absolutely.
That without it, we wouldn't be who we are. They do go hand in hand. You can't separate the two.
Okay. One more. Can I give you one more?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do one more. Seeking help means something is wrong with you.
No, there's something wrong with all of us. It would be
That's a myth.
It is a myth. It would be such a lie to say that at one point or another in our lives, we didn't need someone or something.
Right. Yeah,
Right?
yeah, for sure.
We are more powerful for doing that. For self-care begins with knowing when you need to know how to reach out to someone.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Now, is there anything I didn't ask you that you wish I would have?
I can't think of anything yet. I will at 2:00 in the morning.
Mambo, why you didn't ask me about this?
I do have one.
Okay.
Does mental health, what was it, myth or, what was your game?
False? No, myth or fact?
Myth or fact? Does mental health affect the elderly?
Ooh, I like that one.
What do you think?
Yes,
You're right.
I think it does.
I have no prize for you, but you're right.
Okay, I'm happy with that.
The rates of suicide for the elderly exist, right?
Wow.
And we don't think about that.
Yeah, no, we don't.
We have people coming through our offices that are 5, 6, 7, 8 years old and have similar thoughts, right? Mental health doesn't have an age. It
This
has
is
a
interesting.
function.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap things up. That was a powerful conversation. I certainly do appreciate your time today. We learned a lot about mental health. And it's not just a weakness, right? I mean, being able to talk about it is a sign of courage.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And certain mental health diagnoses have superpowers.
Yeah.
My area of focus is ADHD.
Okay.
And ADHD has some amazing stuff to it.
Yeah.
It's all in what you look for, right? If you're looking for the negative, you're going to see that. If you're looking for the positive, you're going to draw that out as well.
Absolutely. As with anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So if you or anyone you know is struggling, please reach out to a friend, a counselor, or one of our incredible guests, as like the one that we have in the studio today, because there is help. You are not alone, and you can get better. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap it up?
No, nothing other than I'm glad that we're talking about this, and I appreciate my time here today.
Awesome. Well, thank you. It's been a great interview, and I hope to talk to you soon.
Likewise.
Thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed this or walked away with anything of value, please like, comment, subscribe, and share it with somebody who you think may need to hear this. Until the next time, we will talk to you then, right here on El Poder en Vivo podcast. Thanks for joining us.